You are listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer, presented by Richard A. Boxshall, in which I chronicle my life and attempts to become a professional writer by, doing some writing daily, hopefully. Hello, today is Wednesday, the 2nd of October 2024. You're listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer who's done no writing again today. I kind of had a feeling this might happen. So I kind of have this plan when I'm on this kind of holiday. Normally I do stuff in the morning. I finish off whatever I'm doing by having lunch out, then come back and do the writing, reading, all the other stuff I want to do. Now, unfortunately, the one thing I really wanted to do today didn't kick off until 2:15 in the afternoon, which means I didn't get back here till about 5:30, which is about 2 hours ago now. Oh, sorry, I'm on a creaky table, so hopefully those creaks aren't too noisy. I'll try not to make the table creak as I continue speaking. So I did two. So basically, I kind of need to do the writing after I've done all the activities. That's just kind of how I like to do it. But unfortunately, because I didn't get back to so late, I couldn't reverse it. My brain doesn't work that way. Do the writing and then do the activity. So instead, I did two activities today. Yes. So today, I firstly went to, so they're both in a place called Tiverton, which is about 20 miles driving. I don't know what it is in a straight line, 20 miles north of me. Where I'm staying now near Exeter. Now, there are a few things at Tiverton, but the thing I chose to go and see was a National Trust house called Knightshays. And it's gorgeous house, beautiful gardens, woodlands, kitchen, garden, all sorts of stuff. And so I actually had a walk around it. So I got there, I think I got there at just after 10 o'clock. The house didn't open till 11, but the gardens opened at 10, which is why I aimed to get there for that time. On the way, I did stop at a Morrison's. I basically promised myself whatever supermarket I drove past first, as in a proper decent sized one, I would stop because I hadn't got any coffee filters with me. So I've bought with me some absolutely lovely coffee. It's a subscription package I get actually. And I grind it myself, which means and I've got this little device which sits on top of your coffee cup, but you have to put a coffee filter in it and then the grounds, and I've forgotten to bring the coffee filters with me, so I didn't have my little cup of coffee this morning. Not that I'm one of these people that desperately needs a cup of coffee to exist. It was fine, but anyway, so bought me coffee filters, and then went to this house called Knightshays, had a wander around the garden, which was stunning. Then I got to the front door of the house about 4 minutes before it was due to open, and I didn't want to be one of those people standing there impatiently waiting for the clock to tick past 11 o'clock. So I walked round the other gardens. I think they're called the formal gardens. And once I'd done that, I got back to the house and it was already open, had a wander round, absolutely gorgeous. It's one of those that's not massive, but stunning. It's got a main hall and bedrooms and a billiard room that actually had a billiard table in it. Normally they call it a billiard room, but there isn't a billiard table. Anyway, so I did all that. And then I finished that at I had lunch at about midday, and then left at about 2:30 midday. I only had like a vegetarian chili with very few calories in it, because the other thing I really need to do is lose weight. I think I've mentioned before that I was going to try and use this podcast to shame myself into losing weight. Well, when I get back after this, I shall get on the scales and then maybe start giving you a weekly weight update to try and force myself to do something about it. But anyway, so I had my lunch, then I drove to the centre of Tiverton and this canal, which is called I've lost the bit of paper. I can't remember the name of it. But it's the website for the place is tivertoncanal.co.uk. And basically, it's one of only 2 horse-drawn barges in the whole of the UK. Passenger barges, I think he said. There might be a third one that does something else. So basically, it's this large barge. There's a bar at the back, which was rather pleasant, although, again, driving, so all I had was a hot chocolate and packet of crisps. And literally, you get onto the barge, you sit down, they give you a safety briefing. It was rather like being at work, actually. And then this horse, this gorgeous, quite small, actually. Well, I say quite small. 15 hands 2 or 15 2 hands, and apparently they have 3 horses they keep to draw the barges, and this one was the little one, the others were like 17 hands plus, so quite a bit bigger. But yeah, so they attached the horse to the barge and then just drew us along the canal, and it was absolutely lovely. And there was a bit, so you go about 2.5 miles or whatever the distance is. You don't go that far because obviously it's a horse walking pace. But yeah, we got to the point where we could turn and come back, and the driver, the guy in charge, the captain, whatever you call him, just sort of said, well, what we're going to do now, he goes, we're going to close the bar, going to close the toilets, and he goes, and for the next 10 minutes between the next bridge and the bridge after, silence. I want you all to just, so you can hear the water, so you can hear the wildlife, so you can hear the clip-clop of the hooves. And, you know, bearing in mind at work, I have trouble getting people to listen to the to shut up for the safety demo. Everybody shut up for about 5 or 6 minutes, I think, maybe a little bit longer. And all you could hear was the water lapping at the side of the barge, the occasional cough, obviously, but the water lapping at the side of the barge, the sounds of birds and ducks and stuff. And even though the horse was actually quite a way ahead of the barge, it was on quite a long rope, you could hear the clip-clop of its hooves, and it was just lovely. Really relaxing and really kind of, yeah. So we got back at about just gone 4:30. Thanks to the horrible... I'd kind of driven down this narrow country lane on the way there and decided to take the motorway, the M5 back, which was a longer distance but less minutes driving. And I decided to do that, and I naturally assumed the shortest route on my GPS would be that route, but no, it was the same way I came in, so I ended up reversing like a few hundred metres at one point where there was this tiny bit of road where people could not pass each other, and there was a horse and another car coming the other way, so I had to reverse quite a way. Anyway, so I got back, had a lovely dinner this evening. Haven't done any writing today. My plan, actually, I haven't made my plan for tomorrow yet, but whatever it is, it's going to be a morning activity, and then I'll get back at lunchtime, and then I will set that time aside. So I was doing morning activity, have something to eat out, a cream tea lunch or something naughty but nice. Then I'll come back to my stomping ground. It's like a log cabin. It's really nice. Come back here and do some writing. Have I actually thought exactly what needs to happen in chapter 37? No, I'm going to wing it, basically. I'm going to write the first 1,000 words or so and see how it goes. I kind of roughly know what needs to happen, but I just kind of, I just need to wing it a little bit. But sorry I didn't write today. As I said, in the back of my head, it crossed my mind that might happen. But tomorrow I will be done by 2:00. I'll be back here and use those 2 or 3.5 hours, whatever it is, in between to make a start on that. I'm also reading a little bit. So yesterday I read a book from my childhood. I read Roald Dahl's George's Marvellous Medicine, which is quite a lot darker than I remember. So George has this evil, you probably know the story, I don't know what I'm telling you, but George has this evil, nasty grandma, and he decides rather than giving her medicine, he's going to make his own, and it makes her grow. And they feed it to like the chicken, because he lives on a farm with his family. They fed it to the chickens and the cows, and all of those things got enormous as well. So his dad's, oh my God, we could solve world hunger, make a huge amount of money. What did you put in the medicine, George? And George is like, everything. And they basically run around trying to recreate this thing using all the ingredients, but he keeps forgetting stuff and it never has quite the same effect. And the last iteration of the medicine makes things shrink. So they give it to his grandmother, who was the first person to try it, and she grew enormous and was basically standing with her feet on the floor of the lower room, of the ground floor, and her head through the loft and through the roof. So they give her this. The last iteration of the medicine he makes things shrink. So he goes, and so she grumpily takes about 50 doses of it and shrinks away to nothing. So he effectively kills his grandma. It's really dark for a kid's story, and only about 100 pages long, so I read it really quickly. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's very weird. I mean, I did used to love Roald Dahl. I remember as a kid that being one of my favourites. I don't think it is now. I think I'm still going to go with something like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory or James and the Giant Peach or How to Push the Twits, or even what's the one about poaching? There's one about kids' book about Danny, champion of the world. Yeah. Anyway, stop talking, Andrew, because it's stop talking, Richard. See, don't even know my own name. 9 minutes in and I haven't stopped. I'm currently reading I've decided to read the Foundation trilogy by Asimov. Never read them. I do like my sci-fi, as you know, but I've never read. There's a lot of sci-fi books I haven't read. So that's my plan. Going to read a bit this evening, and then tomorrow I shall go somewhere. I will plan that out later, and then I will do some writing. Thank you for listening. Take care. Bye-bye. You have been listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer, presented by Richard A. Boxall. Thank you for tuning in to my random ramblings, and if you'd like to know more about me or my projects, visit my link tree at linktr.ee/Richard Wright, capital R, capital W. Thank you for listening.